What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I am, according to Woods, and he is the UF MMA champion, mixed martial artist, aficionado, Voodoo Maximus Pius Inilolobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus, and we are going to do a post-fight breakdown of the past UFC Fight Night, Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva. Uh, I guess UFC Fight Night. Is that what they're calling it? Because it's weird. They flip flop. It's like UFC
Yeah,
Vegas, whatever, and then they'll go like Fight Night Hall versus Silva. So I don't know what the fuck, man. It's UFC Vegas, whatever the fuck it is.
yeah. 12. UFC Vegas 12. Also
Yeah,
known as Fight Night.
absolutely, absolutely. And what a fight night it was. Kind of, I don't want to say anticlimactic because for the finishes that were there, those were absolutely finishy. Yeah, they were finishy finishes. Yes, 100%. But
Yeah.
the rest of the card was, I don't want to say anticlimactic, but it was just like there were better cards this year. Did you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. Everyone performed. It wasn't like they were underperforming. There was lots of knockouts and submissions or whatever you want to call it. It just so happens that the main event was the main event was sad for me. It was sad. It was sad. I had the idea that Anderson could possibly get toe tagged, but I didn't want to see it. But he's a grown man. This is what he loves to do, and I have to embrace that.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, there was a lot of grown men in this card. I mean, this is one of the first cards in recent memory that there was actually not a not a female contest. Now, obviously, there was originally supposed to be Priscilla Cachoeira against Courtney Casey, but Cachoeira, she had like a really bad weight cut and whatever, so that one was pulled off the card. Yeah, and I mean, theoretically, we also should have had Kevin Holland versus Mahmoud Muradov, but that was a withdrawal on Muradov's side of things. So yeah, man. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of weird. I don't know how to feel about this one, and especially as I don't want to lead too much into the main card, but I mean, to me, it was all about the main event.
Yes, indeed, it was about the main event. It was about this whole card was about Anderson Silva, and everyone else were just icing on the cake. Um, we have been watching Anderson Silva for some 15 plus years, and you know, uh, we were looking for the end. They told us it was going to be the end, and we wanted to help him celebrate that, and we did. I believe we did.
Yeah, 100%. And then Jesse Velasquez says the prelims was lit, lots of finishes, but yeah, the girl missed weight by 30 pounds. And yes, that is absolutely true in Cachoeira. I mean, I don't know. That fight was supposed to be contested in the 125-pound division. I think Cachoeira was thinking maybe she was a featherweight. I don't know.
You know what happens in cases like this when you miss weight by 30 pounds? You will never, ever, 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 ever get another call from the UFC again. So you can say bye to this lady, whatever her name is, because she'll never come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess in terms of like whether it be an amateur kind of card or, I mean, even in amateurs here in California, there's like a 5 to 10 pound weight allotment, but like 30, that's like, I mean, again, it's a different division.
I mean, when I fought at amateurs, it was only a 1 pound allowance. One, that's it. It's just like the pros, 1 pound. And if it's a championship match, then you have to hit your mark. If it's 155, then you have to hit 155, not 155.01. Nothing. 155 period for title matches.
Yeah.
And by the
So
way, by the way, I don't I don't I don't understand how people can call themselves fighters and lose and miss weight by 30 pounds. Was she sick or something? She might have been sick. Or did she have like the coronavirus or something? Like something ridiculous? 30 pounds is it's not even trying. It's like she was eating tiramisu last night or the night before or something like that makes no sense to me. Something must have happened that we don't know about.
yeah, but I mean, also you gotta know, because when we did the show on Thursday, this fight was still on. Like, this fight was, because we talked about it. We talked about it. I remember this distinctly talking about it. Right. So I
Yes.
mean, she knew that she was like way over, way over. At the time that we talked about it, and theoretically, it should have. Oh, wait. So it's saying on MMA Junkie that she withdrew on the weigh-in day because she previously caught COVID, right, over the summer, and has never missed weight at the flyweight limit. But yeah, so she's blaming it on COVID. So there's that.
I mean,
I
if the government can blame everything on COVID, why can't she, right?
I guess I mean, I guess that's the thing. And again, this is not, because we had Wellington Turman, who was originally supposed to fight Sean Strickland. He tested positive for COVID. Christopher Curtis got it. And unfortunately had to withdraw from his bout. And I mean, this is a very real thing. I mean, people have died. So I mean, nothing to joke about. But yeah, this is it's rough. It's rough. And I think that the UFC. I echo your sentiments. The UFC brass probably couldn't take too kindly to this botch. So I mean, on weigh-in day,
Yeah, man. Wait, which one was it? Was it the American or the Brazilian that missed
it
weight?
was the Brazilian. It was Cachoeira,
Hmm.
Zombie Girl. Yeah,
That's I don't know. She wasn't, but I don't believe we picked her to win anyway. So that
yeah.
that counts as a loss for her.
I mean, a double loss for Cachoeira. So there's that. But I mean, let's get into I mean, the card, because I mean, right off the bat, right out of the gate, we had a knockout. All right. We pretty much predicted that Kevin Natividad would go over Miles Johns, but it would be literally the toughest test to date for Natividad. And
Hmm.
I mean, he got tested because he got third round TKO uppercutted by one Miles Johns.
Yeah, what we witnessed was home court advantage. Miles Johns is already established in the UFC, and he understands the tempo. Kevin Natividad was supposed to fight about a month or a month and a half ago, but his fight got rained out by this virus, this COVID-19. So now he returns. Now he returns against Miles Johns. Miles Johns, who's well versed in the UFC, he's settled in already. And Miles Johns brought the fight to him early before Kevin Natividad could really warm up and get his range. He hit him with some good shots, and in doing this, he left underneath open, and the uppercut went right through, hit him on his chin, put his lights out immediately. His legs got caught under him, and he got Rashad Evans when Rashad got knocked out by the karate guy. Remember that
Wonder Boy.
when he flipped, when he did that?
Oh,
No,
Machida.
no, the old karate guy, Machida.
Machida.
Yeah. Same thing happened to Kevin Natividad. Yep. Same thing happened to Kevin Natividad. His legs got cut up under him, and then he was launched. You know, uh, It's unfortunate, but I'm sure the young man will be back. Now he's gotten, he's been knocked out. Now he can brush that off his shoulders, and now he can focus on his career and move on.
No, 100%. And Jesse was saying, in terms of Cachoeira, she could have pulled out and maybe found a last minute replacement. 100%. Yeah, and he said, man, he got slept hard. Kevin looked good. He just got caught, slipping, and Johns blasted it, and exploiting kind of a hole, theoretically, in Natividad's defense. So shout out to Miles Johns.
Yeah, not just a hole; it was a huge ass hole. Bruce Lee says, "Never take your eye off your opponent, even when you bow." Natividad was under attack, and he was here. This is what cost him that knockout. He's going to learn from this, and he'll never do that again. I can almost guarantee you this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Kevin's had his brother, to kind of train from. They're both at the MMA lab, so I mean that's definitely something that they're going to kind of. I don't want to say agonize over, but I mean it is something that is going to be brought up.
Yeah, you were right. Agonize over is the right term to use because they should agonize over this. When you get to the professional level, you should know never to take your eye off your opponent. He made a very, very careless mistake, and he paid dearly for it. And I guarantee you, this will haunt him for the rest of his career because he was good enough to fight the guy that he fought. He just made a terrible mistake early on.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, big win for Miles Johns, and I mean, kicks off the card with a stellar knockout. I mean, a hard fought knockout because again, a lot of people kind of said that Natividad was probably winning that fight. So it's those incremental
Yeah.
steps and oh, go ahead.
I believe that knockout got him a performance of the night bonus.
Yeah, an extra 50,000 to one Miles Johns. So, I mean, that's talk about making an impression, and especially the fact that he has had, some time in the cage, So, shout out to Miles Johns, sweet 50K, in addition to his fight and win bonus. So it's fucking tremendous. I mean, the holidays are coming up, so that's gonna work well. It's gonna work out well. Now,
it's gonna come in handy. Yeah.
Now going up in weight and up in the card, we had Dustin Jacoby versus Justin Ledet or Ledet, and this one, I know you, Voodoo Maximus, were kind of happy with this because we had a shit ton of leg kicks.
Yes. I mean, it's very simple, man. When you have someone come into the fight with a knife and you got another one come into the fight with a machine gun, it's quite clear. I mean, not that the guy with the knife can't win. It's just his chances are smaller, right? But the guy with the gun, chances are quite larger. And that's what we witnessed. Dustin Jacoby is a dynamic striker. He's an excellent kickboxer. And he displayed that by dismantling Justin Ledet. Took him apart, finished him. KO. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, and my goodness, I mean, what can you say? I mean, Dustin Jacoby, he definitely. I mean, it only took him around, not even like a whole round. It was like 2 minutes and 38 seconds, the very first round. But I mean, even still, he was dominating. So he set traps, and Justin Ledet definitely fell into it every single time. I mean, this masterful. I mean, not just like a masterful KO, but also just like in terms of warfare. Right? Just setting traps for your opponent to fall into. I mean, in any facet of life, that's kind of what you want to do.
Yep, that's it. And pretty much what you witnessed in this fight is the same reason that Floyd Mayweather decided not to step into the octagon against Conor McGregor because he knows those kicks will immobilize him sooner or later. By the time he took 3 to 4 kicks, he'll be done. And then Conor has all day to whoop his ass. And this is why he refused to step into the octagon. And I can respect that. The man knows his limitation. I learned that one from Clint Eastwood. Every man must know their own limitations.
Absolutely. And Jesse says exactly. Jacoby had way more weapons. Lede was just straight boxing and got leg kicked to death. And fuck, I mean that's a great assessment. Just saying. I mean, fuck, I can't, I can't agree with you anymore. That was a perfect assessment there. Yeah. So, fucking a. Now, the first submission of the night actually goes in the contest, the third contest of the night. We had Jason Witt versus Cole Williams. And Jason Witt hits an arm triangle choke in the very second round. This is masterful ground jiu-jitsu. This was, oh my God, this is great. I mean, obviously, and shout out to Chase Gibson, who was victorious and honored his twin brother Cooper, dearly departed. Had an amazing Darce choke, and this one was also a memorable submission of the weekend because this arm triangle choke was a thing of fucking beauty.
Indeed, it was. Indeed, it was. Prior to this fight, I remember we talked about Jason Witt, the Vanilla Gorilla. When a man names himself a Vanilla Gorilla, understand he's bringing all the wrestling prowess in the book with him, and he brought it. Cole Williams, I believe, did not make weight, meaning he was not prepared for this particular matchup. And Jason Witt did exactly what he planned to do, and he did it all day long until he was able to get behind him, take that choke, and then finish him off. It is what it is. You can't step into this cage half. You can't step into the cage half-ass. You step into the cage half-ass, you will pay dearly, and he paid dearly. He bled. It was a crimson bath, and on top of that, he got choked the F out.
Yeah, holy hell. I mean, to fight on Halloween and just have like a gore fest, an absolute gore fest. Fucking hey. It's not good if you're Cole Williams, but I mean, if you're Jason Witt, you can call yourself from Vanilla Gorilla to like the human horror show. I have to sound out horror because it sounds with my accent like horror, and I don't want to say the human horror show. So there's that. That's why I horror. That Fijian English is a crazy fucking thing, man. And Jesse says complete domination. Guy had no chance, and hell yeah, Chase Gibson's a boss, 100%. So shout out to the Gibson family, the CMMA family, the UWF USA family, who have combined and made a bit of a super team. So shout out to all of you fine folks there in South Bay, Gardena, I believe.
Hey, while we're shouting out CMMA, hey, Aussie. Shout out to Aussie Diaz, my man. Aussie. I see you, Aussie. Good shit, brother.
Fantastic fucking KO. My goodness. And again, you guys ought to check out LFA 94 on UFC Fight Pass, like right now, if not sooner, because the main event, the strawweight title fight, fucking phenomenal. My fight of the year, 100%. So I'm just saying, and we'll get to that. We'll heap praise on those two fine young ladies who, I mean, went to war. But speaking of going to war, holy hell! After a 2-year layoff, Sean fucking Strickland, my man. I mean, he bested Jack Marshman for 3 rounds, but it was 3 rounds of all hell for Marshman. Jesus, like, I mean, I think Biscuit was even saying, like, whoa, Sean Strickland, where the fuck were you? Like, oh my God, the performance that Sean Strickland put out makes him, I mean, in the conversation of one of the top prospects. He's been long in the game, so you can hardly call him a prospect, but a contender to the welterweight title, the 185 title. Jesus Louises. It's just, I mean, he was almost like a highlight show.
Yeah. Sean Strickland is coming back from a motorcycle accident. He's been through rehab. He's had a lot of time to think over his life, to think over what he's doing that isn't worth his time. You know what I mean? So he's gotten a chance to put things in, how do you say, in perspective. He's gotten a chance to put things in perspective, and that fight on Saturday is just how well he's put things into perspective, because his opponent Jack Marshman was a tough individual. He brought the fight and he was willing to die. He was willing to die, and Sean Strickland was ready to kill his ass. And he gave it to him. He gave it to him all the lengths. He took all the shots. He took it all. And in a unanimous decision, Sean Strickland reigned victorious. Congratulations, Sean. Very, very, very good fight.
Absolutely, and improving. Again, Sean Strickland, like we forgot, and he reminded us, right? Because he's 21-3 coming out of Saturday. 21-3. That is a fucking phenomenal record, and a large part of his career, probably 70% of his career, has been in just the UFC. So again, shout out to Sean, and got to be all the way in or don't go in at all 100%. So there you go, Jesse. I love it. And that was a great fight with no audience. It made the fight even better. You can hear them talking, and the respect, it took some damage. Strickland gave some mad respect for it. 100 fucking percent. And Voodoo Mantis, I know you love the fucking talking part. So have at it, my man.
I loved every moment of it. Here's why I love it so much. They were both talking shit and smiling back and forth during the fight. So it wasn't like one trying to put the other one down or whatnot. It was two men in the cage killing each other and smiling about it. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I mean, again, those are the you don't have to for any aspiring fighters or what have you. You can have great respect for your opponent and have a phenomenal fight and be good after it. Like you don't have to shit talk, right? Like, I mean, it's good if you can. That's awesome. But if it's not, that's not who you are, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, Sean Strickland and Jack Martian proved exactly that, as did Lupe Godinez and Vanessa Demopoulos, for the LFA strawweight title. Again, they respected each other and went to fucking war. So I'm just saying, you don't have to do it, but if you can, you might want to. I'm just saying.
And another thing. Talking shit is not always a bad thing. As you can see, both men talk a whole lot of shit to each other, and it was all in good fun. You know what I mean? So there's two types of talking shit. There's the one that's personal, and that's the one that's fun. That one was fun. And there's a lot of people out there who needs to master these two styles of talking shit. Because when the general individual hears talking shit, they just automatically assume it's the negative one, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. When we train, what's his name, Vince. Vince, he will always talk shit, but it's all in good fun. You know what I mean? Yes, is he trying to distract you? Of course, this is what you do in the fight, right? He's trying to distract you, but yet it's all in good fun. He's not trying to hurt anyone's feeling or anything like that. That's not how he is. But he does talk shit. You know what I mean? But as we're sparring or whatever you want to call it, grappling, we're talking shit and we're laughing. We're laughing. You know what I mean? It's more fun. The activity becomes more fun when it's reciprocated. When the shit talk is reciprocated, and it's all in good fun. That was a good match. It just so happens that Strickland was way better than Jack, but they have fun doing it, and that's all. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, no, 100%. But again, this one was a fun fight to behold. One thing that you don't want to do is go to a foreign country and in the middle of the cage when you still have to get out of the arena and out of the country is call those people filthy fucking animals. I'm just saying. Don't have to do that. Don't have to fucking do that.
Hey
I'm just
man.
saying. That's uncalled for.
Hey, went he went over there, called them filthy animals, and now we're talking about him. You know what I mean? Some things are worth risking. your life for?
Who? 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 Who the fuck? Who the fuck is that guy? That's what I got. That's what I got.
That's Kobe.
That's what I
That's
got.
Kobe Covington, brother. Kobe Chaos Covington.
Good. Totally good. Anyway, well, we got in the bantamweight division, we had Adrian Yanez against Victor Rodriguez. Holy fucking shit, Adrian Yanez. Now, we pretty much predicted this on Thursday, but good lord. I mean, you could predict it, but seeing it play out in action, live and in living color, holy hell, Victor! I mean, Adrian Yanez. I mean, uh, and Victor Rodriguez, 7-3. You know, he's a veteran. You know, I mean, he was 7-2, 7-3 now. Jesus, like you just fell prey to Adrian Yanez.
Um, what we witnessed in this particular matchup, Adrian versus Victor, it was pretty much the dynamic striker versus your olden day brawler or whatever you want to call it. When you're dynamic, the movement changes everything. The movement, when the footwork is constantly changing, you're in and out with your technique, like a taekwondo artist, a karate artist. You know what I'm saying? A martial artist. When you're in that martial artist mind frame, things come easy. It's just the you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price to get your legs conditioned enough to continuously move you from left to right, front to back. Once you pay that price, your probability of winning becomes so much higher because now you're a moving target. And when you're a moving target, it's harder to hit you. The one that's going to hit you has to be one that is highly, highly, highly skilled. And how often are you going to run into someone that's highly, highly, highly skilled? Because Victor was not highly, highly, highly skilled. He was highly skilled, but not highly, 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 highly skilled. So there's levels to this game. Dynamic striker met your olden day striker, and dynamic won. Period. Head kick KO, and he knew he was going to get that head kick KO. He was telling his training partners or his corner or whatever, I'm going to smash him with a head kick KO. And what happened? He saw something. He saw flat feet. He took advantage of it.
Yes, Adrian Yanez made Victor Rodriguez look like Heidi Fleiss. He got fucked, pretty much. So there you go. And Jesse Velasquez says, "Yeah, my boy, Yanez, Mini Masvidal, big KO. I like this guy. Good prospect. Couldn't agree more." And again, you know, he dispatched of one would even say reckless Victor Rodriguez. So fucking yeah, and netted him another $50,000. So shout out to him because again, Christmas at the Yanez household is gonna look pretty fucking merry. So how about that?
Most definitely. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
man.
Most definitely.
So we got up here in the 155-pound division. We had Alexander Hernandez against Chris Gritzmacher, right? And we pretty much predicted this one here, right? So Grits, I mean, to me, you don't get to that level of MMA kind of prestige, right? With and being a can. You don't get to the UFC being a can. But are we going to be talking about the Grits one, right? Are we talking about Grits as a UFC title contender? Probably not. Probably not at all. Not at all. Alexander Hernandez, the great Alexander Hernandez, that is another story completely because he improves his record to 12-3, a fabulous KO in the very first round.
Well, it's very simple. Once again, we have Mr. Chris, old school style of fighting, flat feet, possible brawl like Vanderlei Silva, and then you have Alexander Hernandez, a dynamic striker. You saw how he moved his feet. You saw how light on his feet he was. He understands dynamic striking. I believe he's a teammate of Royval, this guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a teammate. Yeah, he comes from the Muay Thai X or something like that.
Yeah.
Muay Thai X. Yeah.
Yeah.
So mhm. So Alexander realizing that where he was previously wasn't really working out, so he switched it up, went to Colorado. Now look at him. Now look at him. He's got more cardio. His striking completely changed. Completely changed. Now he has more weapons because he's a dynamic striker now. He has earned a moniker, dynamic striker, because he proved it. He went in there against a UFC veteran and he just tattooed him. He drew tattoos on his face, and then eventually he finished him off with some serious, devastating strikes in the corner. You know what I mean? It was wow, wow. You know what I mean? I don't know, man, but all you fighters, dynamic is the only way. Dynamic style is the only way. Not only is it the only way, it is the style that's in right now. So get on board if you don't want to get left behind by the train. All aboard. Dynamic train. Let's go.
Let it fucking go. Yes. This is the cool kid saying. I'm not a cool kid. So, but I will echo those sentiments. But shit me. Fucking A. And Jesse says, yeah, that was a huge mismatch. They used that guy to build Hernandez back up after a few losses. I don't disagree with you, Jesse. I don't disagree with you.
Now let's look at the people Alexander has lost to. He's lost to the tip top cream of the crop individual.
Yeah,
so
true.
his losses can be overlooked. It could be you can chop it up to inexperience against experience, and experience is always gonna win, and that's what happened. He ran in there against Cowboy Cerrone. Come on, man. Cowboy's been in there since the days of the WEC. Imagine the amount of knowledge he's bringing into the cage. You know what I'm saying? Even though Cowboy's slowing down a bit, he is no pushover. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, as to it as Drew Dober and obviously Jamal Emmers, Pretty Boy, who LFA veteran and has found himself back in the UFC. And I mean, literally, some stellar performances on Emmers' part. So again, those three losses are all against people that are either in the UFC or they were about to. Emmers was pre-UFC, but Emmers is in the UFC now. So there it is. You can't really fault him for that.
Not really.
So yeah, now we actually had the first decision of the night. We had Thiago Moises against King Bobby Green. This one was funny because I actually tuned into the Grappling Hour / Verbal Tap podcast for the watch along, right? And Rafa Esparza, the host, basically was saying like, yeah, this is why I don't like Bobby Green fights, because he has this like weird fucking style, right? And in many ways, well, that's what Ralph said. I mean, Ralph was just like, he has this weird style, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And but Jesse's saying that, yeah, it was close, but they cheated Bobby Green. I thought he won 1-3. No, 100%. But with all of the experience that Bobby Green, and I didn't think about it until after, and when Roth talked about it, in terms of like, what he can do in terms of physical prowess, right? I mean, yes, he's longer in the tooth when it comes to, his MMA acumen, but he's still relatively young, right? But the last time that we had a KO from him was Jesus. I have to scroll down. So it was James Krause, UFC Fight Night 31 back in 2013. That was the last time that we saw a finish from King Bobby Green. And then he had the Jacob Volkman rear naked choke. That was earlier in the year in 2013 in February. But I mean, 2013 was the last time we saw a finish out of
Mhm.
King Bobby Green. So
Mhm.
uh, I know we were talking about hopefully seeing him do a title run after this fight. I am a little bit more tepid than I was on Thursday about wanting to see that. But what
Uh,
say you?
First of all, I don't know what the judges were thinking in this particular match. Don't get me wrong, Thiago Moises looked phenomenal. He looked like a dynamic striker. He didn't. He tried the jiu-jitsu early on. He realized this is going to be a waste of his energy because I believe was it the end of the first. He tried to go for some takedown, but he got so tired. Maybe the second. It was the second. He got so tired, and then he realized, hey, maybe I should just stick to my dynamic because the dynamic is working. And he threw some spinning heel kicks and he threw headshots and he was able to cut OG Bobby Green, but he did not win this match. This Thiago fella did not win this match. I totally disagree with the judge's decision, and not because I picked OG Bobby Green. I felt that OG Bobby Green did enough to win that match. He landed the more serious shots. He landed the more serious shots. One, two, he landed more shots. He attacked high, medium, and low. What else do you want? Yeah, he got cut. Okay, okay. The Diaz get cut all the time. You know what I mean? You're gonna take the match from them too? Like, come on, man. It's called scar tissue, and these judges need to understand that when the fella has scar tissue in his face, you touch him a little bit, everything's gonna bleed. It's gonna look worse than it is. I mean, he was fine. He was fighting. Everything was great, man. He was fine. Why take the match from a man that outworked the other guy? He outworked the other guy. And then in regards to his style, the more unpredictable the style, the better. Why would I want someone to understand my style? That would be crazy. That would be stupid to have someone to have your opponent understand exactly what you're gonna do. Then they're gonna beat your ass. But if you're unpredictable, I mean, if I'm not sure that you're gonna throw a left leg or a right arm, then better for me. Why would I? Why would I want to have a style that everyone else can duplicate? That makes no sense. No
Right.
sense. OG Bobby Green, his style is working for him and it's gotten him this far. Why change? Why change? It's perfect. I mean, and then you might have noticed he had his hands down. There was a reason why he had his hands down. He had to sacrifice keeping his hands down so Moises couldn't get the takedown. Why you think he was so good defending against the takedown? Because he had to keep his hands down. Yes, that left his head open, but it was a worthy sacrifice. Imagine if he got caught up under Thiago Moses, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, on the ground next to the fence. Imagine that. You know what I mean? He sacrificed a few cuts so he never got put in that terrible situation that could have lost him the match. Legitimately lost him the match. You know what I mean? He outperformed Thiago Moises or whatever his name is. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, OG Bobby Green is 4-0 in this COVID season.
No. Well, and Jesse basically says that he's fighting in terms of Bobby Green. He's fighting some of the best guys in the UFC, so the finishes are going to be hard. But he does go for more speed than power in his punches, and that's a pretty accurate assessment. Um, and he also
Mm-hmm.
says that I feel him self style. He could try and press on the gas and finish a little bit more after this fight. Yeah, absolutely. You could garner yourself into
Mm-hmm.
to uh, to more decisions going your way. But here's one thing that kind of I knew that every decision was going to be kind of screwy. And I saw that like right after Natividad got KO'd. There was a particular person, a particular face that is known in MMA and boxing infamy in the state of Nevada. A particular set of wire rim glasses that is none other than Adelaide Bird. Adelaide fucking Bird. Anytime that you see Adelaide Bird either on the scorecards or sitting at ringside or cage side, you know somebody's getting fucked no lube. 100%. 100%. And that's kind of what we saw. I was just like, oh shit, Adelaide Bird. That light skin complexion and those wire rimmed glasses. I was just like, oh, somebody's getting fucked. Please let's get some decisions because let's get some finishes because the decisions are going to be opposite of the way that they should be theoretically.
And then after the decision was read, you saw the disappointment, but then how he handled it. OG Bobby Green, man, he's matured so much. He's matured so much. He's earned that OG title. He's earned it. To me, he's earned that OG title, and I just wish him the best. He's on the right path now, man. It took a while, but he's on the right path, and he's doing all the right things. 3-1 in COVID era is not a bad record.
No, not at all. Now here we go. This was kind of, and let's get to Jesse, because he says that I'm roasting. Jesse, Voodoo, put Adelaide Bird's name in the fucking Google machine, right? You already know. Some of your favorite fights have been fucked up over the last 20 years by Adelaide Bird. I have no idea how in the fuck, like, I don't know. Does she? I mean, there's a Fertitta Hall at UFC that just got built, right? Because Lorenzo and Joe Fertitta, put a fucking insane amount to the UFC program and shit, right? So I don't know if there's like a Bird wing in the Nevada State Athletic Commission, like fucking Hall of Fame or whatever the fuck, or like I don't know why Adelaide Bird in 2020. Like again, she hasn't called. I mean, if your job is to judge combat sports adequately, and she's had 10 years of fuck ups, at least. I could even go back into like maybe the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, right? And again, some of your favorite fights in both boxing and MMA, right, have become fucked up by one person, Adelaide Bird, right? And theoretically speaking, right, if you back up one big fight, let's say a Canelo fight, right? Which she's done. She's fucking done, right? You fuck up a Canelo fight. That should be like, that's it. Like, it's just like, you could be an electrician, right? But you electrify one fucking house, right? You fuck everything up, and little Frisky that is toying with the wires gets fucking burnt to crisp, a la the fucking cat in Christmas Vacation, right? That's one fuck up, right? That can undo like 30 years of fucking work, right? So a Canelo fight with millions, probably like close to $1 billion in advertising and merchandising and pay-per-view buys, personal purses between both fighters, right? She's probably cost the state of Nevada, at least fighters that have fought in Nevada, probably about $1 billion. $1 billion. Like, that's not hyperbole. Think of all of the fucking, again, put Adelaide Bird in the fucking, in the Google machine, right? And look at her list. And look at the fight purses from those, whatever, and every shit decision that she's been. I mean, I'm a very big advocate for referees and judges and shit like that, but she is a shit judge. So
she's a
just
disappointment. She's a disappointment to combat sports. Disappointment. I don't know why she's still around. After all the complaints and, like you said, it's been years and years and years, and she's still there, still fucking people's lives up, and no one is doing anything about it.
It is. It's a livelihood. These are these people's livelihood. They're getting fucking brain damage, so you can fuck up their career. What are we doing? You gotta ask yourself, like, what are we fucking doing, man? So Adelaide Bird, boo. But I knew some fuckery was getting on. I knew it. I was like, the fucking fix is in. The fix is in. The fucking envelope is delivered in her pocketbook, so to speak. assuming that's the fucking deal. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, she's gotten in so much infamy, right? That you can already assume that somebody fucking delivered, the Brinks truck to her fucking driveway. She's probably got a palatial estate in Nevada. So just saying. So fucking Outlaid Bird, what the fuck is what I got. That's what I got.
Yeah, man.
But speaking of what the fuck, right? Holy hell! This is one we didn't even know what the fuck happened. Not even the commentators knew what the fuck happened. But we had Kevin Holland and Charlie Ontiveros. I had to slow that shit down. Ontiveros, right? Um,
Mhm.
we knew Charlie got next slam to hell, right? But we didn't know what the fuck happened, But as Tapology says, that it was like and shout out to Rafa Sparza because it was a verbal tap of Charlie Ontiveros, and I mean, this is not one to joke about because Charlie got dropped on his fucking head, like he became a pencil neck gate in the words of Freddie Blassie, and holy fuck. Well, first off, can we talk about Charlie's hair? Can we? That was like,
Charlie,
what is it?
Sideshow
Go ahead.
Bob, Sideshow Bob.
It was Sideshow Bob meets what is it like that chick off of Ozark, right? The blonde chick off of Ozark meets fucking like Sean O'Malley without the fuck. I don't know what the fuck it was. Carlos Newton, like a fucking brown Carlos Newton, Castaway, motherfucking. I
Hey,
don't know what
but
the fuck it was, man. And maybe if
let me
he
tell
had less of a hairstyle, like maybe his neck wouldn't have contorted in a weird fucking way. Maybe it was weighing him down. I don't, I don't know. But I don't want to say that if.
hey,
Uh, go ahead. go go ahead,
hey,
Mooney. Go for
This Charlie character, this Charlie fella, he's got something good going because we're talking about his hair and we're talking about him by talking about his hair. You know what I mean? He's getting more attention than he's supposed to because of the hair. So I'll give him that. I'll give him a plus there. Remember, this is America, man. Good publicity, bad publicity, it's all publicity. So in a way, the hair is working, even though it looks terrible. The hair is working for him because we're talking about it. We're talking about him before the guy that actually won. You know what I'm saying? So right there, that goes to show you, you know what I mean? As when it comes to gimmicks, it's a bad gimmick, but it's a bad working gimmick. The gimmick is working, right? But when we go to his fighting prowess, he's a dynamic striker. This Charlie Oliveros, immediately he presented a problem for Kevin Holland. And Kevin Holland, being the smart individual that he is, he recognized, okay, this guy could possibly knock me out. The axe kick was what changed Kevin Holland's idea of striking. Once he realized, oh, okay, this guy is actually a better striker than me. Okay, plan B. Let's see what he can do when we clamp him up and take him to the ground. He took him to the ground. He controlled him pretty well. You know what I mean? I believe they made their way back up when he picked him up and he dumped him on his neck. And immediately the young man, he tapped. And look, I mean, this is a tough sport. It's not easy. This is what we were talking about earlier, but the young man that came in overweight against the vanilla gorilla. Come on, man. You're either all the way in or you're all the way out. Ain't no testing the waters. It's not gonna happen. You test the waters, you get your neck broke. And this guy was ready to fight. He was ready to fight. He's been looking to fight Kevin Holland for quite some time now. Now they found themselves in the UFC. And now they're fighting on the biggest stage of all. And it was looking good until Kevin Holland got a hold of him. So before this young man comes back, he needs to immense himself. And he needs to throw himself into wrestling. Takedown defense is primary for this guy because he has none. He has none. The way Kevin Holland manhandled him upon grabbing him, it was pathetic. For someone to make it this far into the UFC and not have any ground game, this is death waiting to happen. and he almost got killed on Saturday. He just didn't know it.
Yeah, which you know, uh, Jesse says it added to the neck injury. I mean, you know, you make very valid points that yes, we are talking about Charlie, right? But theoretically speaking, and to use a euphemism that 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 Jesse Velasquez uses quite eloquently, right? Risking it for the biscuit, right? So theoretically speaking, right? Good, good publicity, right? That good publicity. Let's just say, theoretically speaking, that his hair attributed to the extra weight on his head that slammed down on his neck, and when Kevin Holland slammed him to all hell, like he just slammed him to fucking hell, like he was like eyeing the devil, right? I mean, is that publicity worth you having no feeling in your arms? Like you kind of passing out when you shit, being in a wheelchair? Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, if you're going to talk about like Sean O'Malley, right? Maybe Charlie Oliveros didn't really verbally tap in his own mind. Maybe he won that fight in his mind. And the mind is a very terrible thing to waste kids. So I'm just saying. Just saying.
Hey,
Now, Jesse having a little bit of insight. On a side note, I'm trained with Holland in the past. I like him, but he ain't ready for Izzy. But I can see him fighting him later down the line, maybe. Which I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Kevin Holland is an intelligent fella, the trailblazer. He's an intelligent fella. Immediately upon victory, he knows that all the cameras are watching him. The world is watching him, and immediately he went after the champ. Beautiful. That is beautiful. 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 This is exactly what you want to do. You want to go after the champ. But by going after the champ, his name is going to ring louder. He's going to get more. People are going to want to know who this guy is. Who is this guy, Kevin Holland? Let me find him on Instagram. Oh, he's actually funny. Like, now he's got more fans. This is strategic. What he did was strategic. He went into the post-fight interview, talked about the champ. You know what I mean? In talking about the champ, he's raising his own platform, right? Bring his own platform next to the champ. Now, forget the guy that broke his neck. Forget him. He doesn't matter. We talking about you, Izzy. We want you, Izzy, and this is what you want to do. If you want to raise your stock, he did exactly what he was supposed to. He used the mic appropriately, right? He didn't set up another match. Actually, he did set up another match. He put himself in line for the platinum Mike Perry. He wants some of platinum Mike Perry. He said he'll go to 185 or wherever he wants to fight. He said, let's do it. I like that. Not only is he calling people out, he's calling out the champ. The champ. He's talking about the champ. You know what I mean? This is what we're talking about. And that wasn't shit talk. I don't consider that shit talk. The man saw an opportunity and he took it. And that was very intelligent of him.
Yeah, I mean, and now that we're kind of on it, and so there's a couple things, right? So obviously, Izzy is going up and fighting the new light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz, right? So what are your? Do you think that's a good move on Izzy?
Could you please repeat that?
Do you think Izzy going up to 205 to challenge Jan Blachowicz? I mean, do you like that move?
Why not? Why not? He's going in there against a slow individual. That's what that is. A flat-footed, slow individual. He's already, hey man, he sees both belts right here. Granted, Jan is unable to grab him. Jan is going to catch an ass whooping of a lifetime. He's going to be embarrassed, seriously embarrassed. Jan thinks, oh, yeah, I can beat this kid. I don't think so. The kid, it's in the footwork, guys. It's in the dynamic movement. The secret is in the dynamic movement. You know what I'm saying? Dominic Reyes stayed flat-footed with that young man, Jan. This is why Dominic got caught. He stayed flat-footed. He wasn't dynamic like he was. Usually, Dominic is dynamic in his movement. He's always moving. But for this particular guy, I don't know why, he stood flat-footed in front of him. And when you're flat-footed, the guy that's been doing it the longest usually does better. And that's what we saw. But when he steps to Izzy, it ain't going to happen, man. I do not see Jan Blachowicz, or whatever his name is, beating Izzy. And if he does, it'll be by submission. But I don't even see that happening. For you to do that to Izzy, you got to be able to catch him. He can run all day. Stick and move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting, right? So there's that. I actually think, yeah, I agree with you completely. I think this is another title for Izzy. Not nothing wrong with Jan Blachowicz, but this is. I think this is Izzy's time to shine. And becoming a double champ and cementing his legacy. Might even run up to heavyweight and be a simultaneous 3 division champ. Izzy's all about being the history maker, the record breaker, the earth shaker, So there's that, and Jesse saying that I got Izzy, John is powerful, but I think he can't keep up with Izzy's speed and striking. He has to get him down.
He can't. He wouldn't even be able to get him down. He wouldn't even be able to put hands on him to get him down. He's too slow. He's too big and he's too slow. That is the problem. You have speed versus girth, and that ain't going. Speed always wins. We talk about the turtle and the hare. That's bullshit. Ain't no turtle that can beat a hare. That's bullshit. They lie to you, kids. It's a lie. No turtle can beat a hare in a race. It's bullshit. And that's what we have here. We have a rabbit versus a turtle, and it ain't gonna happen. Always win.
No, 100%. Which also brings up an interesting point because you spoke of Mike Perry, not Perrier. That's different. Perrier is a water. Mike Perry is an asshole. But we have Mike Perry is fighting Tim Means because Tim Means stepped in for Robbie Lawler. Yes, that was announced. Actually, I found out on Instagram, on the Dirty Birds Instagram page, that this fight is in fact happening. I couldn't be more thrilled. And for those who don't know, Tim Means is actually the reason why I got kicked out of the Palms Casino right before the car crash with Blake Troop. Because, hey, we were sitting in the bar. Blake Troop goes, hey, isn't that the dude who fought? And we were literally in the bar at the Palms watching the Ultimate Fighter finale, right, the last one. And he was like, hey, isn't that whatever? See if you want to get interviewed. So I did. It means the impeccable person that he is. He says yes. So obviously it's a noisy casino. So I literally go in between the the wall and doors between the carport and the casino. And we interviewed. Blake Troop got tapped on the shoulder as he's filming it. Got stabbed on the shoulder. And I kept that short and sweet. Again, you can find that on the According to Words page, the YouTube page, but kept it short and sweet, 3 minutes, and then I got kicked out of the fucking Palm. So shout out to that, but I will do it all over again for Tim Means. Even more so because I want him to knock the fuck out of Mike Perry and knock him right out of the UFC. 100%.
That's gonna be an interesting matchup. That's gonna be an interesting matchup. I can't wait to see it.
Well, who you got?
Woo! When that time comes, we'll talk about that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That is fair. One thing that fucking isn't fair at all is the fact that Greg Hardy won again. Hate that shit.
What do you mean?
When Voodoo, you're a parent, I'm a parent. I'm even a grandfather, right? When you tell your kids, hey, do right, do good things, and good things will happen to you, right? Right? That's kind of the principle. Mike Perry is not that. I mean, Mike Perry is not that.
Yeah.
100%. Greg Hardy is also not that.
Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy is not that. No, no. So, I wanted the Crochet King to fucking win just because, whatever. I knew it was Voodoo had it. I can admit when I'm wrong, but fuck, man. Can can we just already put Greg Hardy in the top
The
10 heavyweights? Like, I want Greg Hardy to name a name. I want him to call out Derek Lewis. I want him to. I mean, Andre
he
Arlovsky.
did.
I want.
He did.
Huh? Did he?
He did. Yeah, he called
Okay.
Derek Lewis pillow hands. He called him pillow hands.
I-
He called out Ngannou too. He said, "Hey man, but all y'all, I'm coming." You know, he told those dudes he's coming. He called Derek Lewis pillow hands.
Okay. That's fair. I want to see. I want to see that, and I think that's weird coming from Greg Hardy, especially. Google Greg Hardy Dana White Contender Series. That motherfucker looked like the Michelin Man, and I'm one to talk. I look at the real time. I admit this. I'm girthy, all right? But fuck, man. I mean, I'm not saying, hey, you fat ass to anyone else. No, not at all. Right? I'm in the process of unfat fucking myself right now. Most people call me and getting healthy. I call it unfat fucking myself because right now I'm a fat fuck. But I digress. Yeah, fuck Greg Hardy. I wanted Green to win, but he's too powerful. 100%. Fuck Greg Hardy. I don't think there's going to be more of an. Please save this fucking segment, Voodoo Matchless, because I got nothing good to say about Greg Hardy.
Hey, look, Greg Hardy is a former NFL player. He's got lateral movements. For a big ass giant man, he's got dynamic movement. It's pretty raw right now. It needs work. It needs work. But he's around, the Black Zillions, I believe, or I believe he's training with the Black Zillions, and they are. It's showing, what's that fella, the Dutch kickboxer that's training Rashad Evans and those guys, the Dutch guy.
Henry
He's
Hoofs,
out
right?
in LA as well.
Wait,
Yeah,
the Dutch?
That guy.
Henry Hooft?
Yeah, he's Dutch, right? Henry Hooft is Dutch.
Yeah, Henry Hoofs. Yeah, and I think he's got his own gym. I think the Black Zillions have disbanded, and now Henry has his own. He has his own gym in like Miami or something like that. But still, South Florida. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, but in Greg Hardy's corner was Rashad Evans and some old Black Zillion fellas. So that's why I said that. But Maurice Green, he relies on his jiu-jitsu too much. He's a guard. He's a guard pulling individual. He wants to pull guard. For a big ass man like that to be seeking to pull guard like he's Horace Gracie or something like that. Get out of here, man. You're in the heavyweight division. We're looking for knockouts, and you want to pull guard like a woman. You want to pull guard like a woman. He's comfortable on his back like a woman. And then he got smashed for it. You know what I'm saying? Greg Hardy went at him like a wrestler, and Maurice Green was on his back like a female, and he got mashed on. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned in terms of Greg Hardy's football prowess and his lateral movement. Well, I hope he gets Blackbeast Derek Lewis, and I hope Greg Hardy's face laterally moves into fucking Derek Lewis's fucking fist. 100%. Just like he can fucking bam. Like, yeah, just lateral move, horizontal move, whatever, horizontal tango. I don't give a shit how it happens. I just want it to fucking happen, So just saying. Good guys are good. Bad guys are bad. Greg Hardy's bad. Fuck that guy. Boo, 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 boo.
Let me tell you something, man. It's gonna be hard. it's gonna be hard to knock out Greg Hardy based on his footwork. He moves too much for a big man. He moves too much. These heavyweights like to stand there and hit each other and brawl. You know what I mean? Like whoever lands the shot first. But Greg Hardy, he's smart enough to avoid these strikes by moving his feet. You know what I mean? He outside of his social incidents, he's actually a very good fighter. For the time that he's been in the UFC or the time that he's been fighting MMA, period, he's doing pretty well. He's not bad at all. He's not bad at all. He's doing pretty well, if you ask me. And uh, in regards to the social thing, he says he's innocent, and until they lock his ass up and throw away the key, I'm gonna assume he's innocent.
Okay. Jesse Velasquez agrees 100%. And then nothing wrong with pulling guard, but not in MMA, 100%. There's that. I mean, we just saw it with Charlie Otaveros, man. You fucking pull guard and shit like that, you got dropped in your fucking neck. That's just what happens, and that shit might look cute and fucking IBJJF and shit like that, but you fucking pull that, you're gonna fucking get your neck snapped. That's that's just it. That's just that. So again, Greg Hardy, whatever the fuck, man, whatever the fuck. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. But we are actually at the co-main events of the evening. We had Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Touchy-Feely. And fuck, man. This shit was Bryce Mitchell all the way. Defended his undefeated record, going from 13-0 to 14-0. There was never a point that Touchy-Feely looked like he was going to win this fight. It was not good. Which, this also is kind of my assessment to what we would see in the main event. But, oh God, if you're the camp in Touchy-Feely, right? Like if you're around him, like, is there anything that you can improve on? Like, if you were right? If you were Andre Touchy-Feely, what would you do? Because like he's had like a hot and cold. He's a dynamic person on social media, but he's had a hot and cold, run in the UFC as of late. He beat Shimon Moraes, Black House veteran. But then he lost to Sadiq Youssef, Charles Jourdain. He, even in his wins, he hasn't looked too impressive. I don't know. Like, I wasn't impressed. And yes, Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell is a well-rounded fighter, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But if that's Bryce Mitchell, who isn't in the contention of a title, conversation, right? And Andre Feely struggled considerably. What are we doing if you're in the inner confines of Andre Touchy-Feely?
Well, Andre Touchy-Feely, he trains with a bunch of wrestlers in Sacramento. Uriah Faber's peoples.
Ultimate Fitness,
Faber's gym. Yeah, those guys. He trains with a bunch of wrestlers. It just so happens that he ran into a better wrestler. This guy, Bryce Mitchell, is in his division, probably the best wrestler in his division. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much he ran into Khabib. That's what happened. He ran into Khabib. He ran into Hamzat Chimaev. That's what happened. It's very hard to when you're outclassed like that in wrestling, you know what I mean? What you gonna do? What's he gonna do? Unless you put up a slick submission. And Bryce Mitchell is a very, very well-versed hybrid wrestler. He's a hybrid wrestler. He's very dynamic in his wrestling and dynamic in his submission as well. That's, as we said last Thursday. Bryce Mitchell is one of two people to ever pull off Eddie Bravo's Twister, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, shout out. One of two people to ever pull off the Twister in the UFC. First one being a Korean Zombie. Bryce Mitchell is the second one. You know what I mean? You just don't go pulling off twisters on people. You know what I mean? It's too difficult, especially in the atmosphere as a UFC. You know what I mean? So Bryce Mitchell, he's on a whole nother level when it comes to wrestling. So when I saw this matchup, I knew right away Bryce Mitchell's gonna win because his wrestling prowess is just too much. Now you say, how can Andre Fili increase his chances? Well, for Andre Fili to increase his chances, he's gonna have to invest a lot in kickboxing. He does not use his kicking as much as he's supposed to. I do not see kicking. I see a boxer. I see a boxer that can kick, but it's not 50-50. It's more 70% hands and 30% feet. And this is what hindering his career. He's a very good boxer. I'm not trying to say he's bad. I'm just seeking more in the kicking department. Someone so long and lanky, I will invest a lot in the side kick and the front kick just to establish range. So when a fool like Bryce Mitchell, is trying to, close in that distance, a nice snapping front kick will remind him of his distance. Hey, you're too close, buddy. Get back. A nice side kick will help him understand that. A turning back kick. All those straight shots, that keep the opponent off. These are things that I feel Andre Fili should invest his time in. And for him to do that, he's going to have to find someone who's good in karate and taekwondo or both combined and work with these types of people. He's not going to get it in an MMA gym, what he's missing. It's not going to come to him in an MMA gym because what you're going to get is people who do kickboxing. What he's missing is proficiency in kicking. And to do that, you have to go to the masters. And the masters of kicking is karate and taekwondo. That's what he's missing.
Now, yeah. So Bryce Mitchell, I think it's who do you put in front of Bryce Mitchell at this point?
In the featherweight division?
Yeah.
I would like to see him go up against Cody Garbrandt.
Wow. You think
Cody's in the 135. Cody's in the 135, huh?
Right, he's 135.
Yair Rodriguez is a little too high for him right now, but that'll be a good match. Do you have access to the top 10? The top 10 in the
I don't think he gets a top 10 guy, right? Because theoretically speaking, Shimaev and Daniel Rodriguez are Rodriguez he floats, he's a 170er, right? So in the featherweight, do you put him against Max Holloway? Do you put him against like Ortega or Korean Zombie, right? So he's got a ways. He's got a ways to go to top 10. Yeah, mm-hmm. He's got what? Yeah. Would you say like maybe 2 or 3 fights?
I'll put him in there right now against the top 5 to 10, the bottom half of the top 10. I will put him in there against anybody in there. The bottom half of the top 10. I'll do that. And if he beats them convincingly, then throw him in there with the top 5. Why not? The boy is undefeated, and he's dominant when he's defeating these guys. He's dominant. So why hold him back?
Yeah,
no reason to hold him back.
Just looking. Obviously, we've got the kingpin in Volkanovski, right? But we've got Bryce Mitchell is actually number 15. So 14, you got Edson Barbosa. 13, you got Ryan Hall, Dan Ige. Number 12, Shane Burgos. Number 11, Sadiq Youssef. Arnold Allen, Jeremy Stevens. Number 8, Josh Emmett. Number 7, Calvin Kattar. 6, Korean Zombie. Number 5, Yair Rodriguez. Number 4, and Zabit. Number 3, and then you've got obviously Ortega and Max as the number 1 and number 2 contenders to the title.
You know who I will match him against? Someone with very, very, very good takedown defense. Who the fuck is that guy? That guy. Him. I will match him against that guy.
I mean, that works.
Again? He trains with Dominic Cruz. What's his name?
Oh, Little Heathen Stevens. Jeremy Stevens.
Yes. I will put him in there against that guy. Yes. That right there is a good test. If he beats Jeremy Stevens, please give him a top 5.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Top 5.
Yeah, because Stevens is number. Yeah, Stevens is number 8. So yeah, that makes sense.
That's perfect. Jeremy Stevens is the perfect matchup for him.
Now we are at the main event of the evening. We have Uriah Hall, primetime Uriah Hall, against the greatest middleweight of all time. The greatest. He is the Spider, Anderson Silva. This one, it just made me sad. It just made me sad because, like, theoretically speaking, there was no winners in this. To me, we saw the death of a legend because Dana White confirmed in the post-fight press conference that we're not going to see Anderson Silva in the UFC cage again. There was some sort of agreement, despite the fact that Anderson Silva has 2 fights left on his contract. Dana White doesn't want to see it, and they said there was maybe they talked in private in terms of an agreement that they had prior to Anderson stepping into the cage, and pretty much any sort of, because Anderson was kind of ho-hum in terms of the post-fight press conference answer. He was just like, I don't know, but at 45 years of age, what's left for them to do, and theoretically speaking, he looked pretty fucking good, up until Uriah Hall turned it on and pretty much soundly dispatched Anderson Silva, bloodied him and KO'd him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Anderson Silva more than most. But I watching that first round, I saw how slow he's become. He's lost 2-3 steps, not just one. He's lost about 2-3 steps, but you can't tell because he's so good. He's so good, and you have to respect this gangster. He's the most gangster of all in the middleweight division. When you say middleweight, Anderson Silva comes out of your mouth first because he is that gangster. You know what I mean? And Uriah Hall, yeah, he realizes that this is the gangster, the quote unquote GOAT right in front of him. But at the same time, Uriah Hall is a martial artist. This is someone he's looked up to his entire life. Possibly, this is the person that got Uriah Hall in the UFC cage. Watching Anderson Silva as a little kid, you know what I mean? He's like, well, I want to be like that guy. And then before you know it, he found himself in front of that guy. But now that guy is 45 years old. He's a shell of his former self. And even though the skills are still sharp, in this game, especially in the middleweight division, speed is key. Greg Hardy beat Maurice Green, the crochet artist or whatever, with speed. Speed was what beat that guy. You know what I mean? Speed is his ally. Uriah Hall is nothing but fast twitch muscle. That was something Anderson Silva used to be, a ball of fast twitch muscle. That's why he was so successful against everybody he faced. Anderson Silva was the first dynamic striker in the UFC. The number 1, very first dynamic striker in the UFC. It was Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? Some other people put together the MMA game before him, but when it comes to dynamic, Anderson Silva is the first. And if you disagree with me, please leave a comment. Like, share, and subscribe, by the way. Leave a comment if you disagree with me, and then we can talk about this on Thursday. But I'm sure there will be no one to disagree with what I'm saying. Anderson Silva was the very first dynamic striker in the UFC. He's old, man. He's old. It is what it is. He's old. But who am I to tell this man what to do? If the man wants to continue, then I mean, he's got the time to train. Let him continue. As long as he's able to train adequately, then let him continue. I don't like to see him lose because I've become accustomed to seeing him win. All I see him do is win. So when he loses, it's a little weird for me, and it almost brought tears to my eyes on Saturday. I almost cried, but then I realized Anderson is okay. Anderson is okay. He's okay with being in there against a murderer like Uriah Hall. We knew what was going to happen. We knew. We said it. I mean, all the numbers pointed to Uriah Hall. And the way we do things here is we look at the numbers and we pick based on the numbers. Even though we know Uriah Hall and we know Anderson Silva, when we look at the numbers clearly favors Uriah Hall. He's younger, faster. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I mean, he's shredded. You know what I mean? I don't even believe Uriah Hall has peaked yet. He's so good. But Anderson, Anderson. I don't want to see Anderson fight anymore. I don't want to see him fight anymore. I love Anderson too much to see these young chaps beating him up like that. He means too much to us. Anderson Silva is a national treasure. There should be a national holiday for this man. And not just in Brazil. I'm talking about worldwide because he made that impact. You know what I mean? He left an impression on many, many people that are now champions. You know what I'm saying? Because of Anderson Silva, a lot of people turned the channel because of Anderson Silva. A lot of people joined this league, this MMA league, because of Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? Now, Anderson Silva is our modern day Bruce Lee. He has nothing left to prove. He has nothing left to prove. And he's not saying he's trying to prove anything. He's not trying to prove anything to anyone. He's just trying to live his life as best as he could. He wants to live his life on his terms. And after giving so much of yourself to the world, a small request like continuing to fight is not such a big thing to ask. So even though I do not want to see Anderson Silva fight anymore, I will support him if he chooses to continue because he's earned my respect. And I do not feel Anderson Silva is crazy. He's not crazy. He's not a crazy man. He knows there's a high possibility of him losing his matches, but yet the man chooses to continue to challenge himself. See, this isn't about winning or losing to him. He has self-actualized. He's been to the mountaintop. He's had the belt for many, many years. It's not about the belt anymore. It's about finding himself. The martial artist that he's become is what's propelling him to move in the direction that he is moving. Remember, the last time we spoke, I told you I cannot hurt another human being. But if that opportunity arises, I'll get back in there. I would. I understand how he feels, but at the same time, this is Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? He's a hero. He's a national hero. And I wouldn't want to see him get injured,
Yeah, and Jesse says, yeah, Anderson is one of the greatest of all time. Exactly due to modern day Bruce Lee. I want him to retire though. He looked good in this fight. Then he was winning before he got dropped. And in terms of Anderson Silva return to the cage, right? So theoretically speaking, right, Dana White, if we take him at his word, right, there have been times that he's kind of expounded, hyperbole, right, in the past. So he said something and did something completely different. But I mean, there was some sincerity in terms of Dana White's voice, right? So Anderson Silva has 2 fights left on his contract. Dana White is adamant he doesn't want to see him again, right? So those 2 fights left in the contract almost forces him into retirement because if, let's say, a Bellator or bare knuckle wanted to come in, they would have to buy Anderson out of his contract in those contractual obligations that he has with the UFC. So,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, and I know Bellator has big, deep pockets. I know Bare Knuckle has deep pockets, right? But would they really want to spend that much and buying out Anderson Silva, the contract that it states with the UFC, plus paying him what he's worth, which is probably a high dollar price tag? Like what, so this theoretically could force Anderson into retirement, regardless if he wants to or not.
I do not believe that Dana White would hold Anderson to his contract. I believe Dana White will release him completely and wash his hands like Pontius Pilate. He's going to wash his hands of Anderson Silva, and he's going to give him his freedom. If Anderson Silva wants to go on and fight and he gets injured, Dana White has washed his hands. He's given him his freedom. So anything that happens from now on is on Anderson. You know what I mean? Anderson is a grown man, like Dana said. He will make his own decisions. But I do not believe that Anderson will be held to his contract. I don't believe it. I believe Dana is going to let him go. He's going to talk to him. He might even kick him some couple of money, couple of $1,000 or a couple of $100,000, as a retirement package. But I do not see Dana holding him to that contract. He will release him from that contract, and Anderson will do what he has to do.
That's an interesting theory. But I don't know. I
We'll
didn't
see.
I didn't feel good after Saturday. I really
Yeah.
didn't. So to see Anderson kind of bloodied and bruised, and 45 years of age, I was just like, I'm good. I'm good. And again, I was there for the weigh-ins for Tito Chuck 3.
Mhm.
Chuck shouldn't have been fighting. Like, I'm surprised the commission let that happen. So, using that as a barometer, I don't want to see Anderson Silva again. If that guy couldn't cultivate his brand outside of actually fighting at 45
Mhm.
years of age, being a international superstar,
Mhm.
cutting his teeth in not just the U.S. but Japan, Canada,
Everywhere.
U.S., everywhere.
Everywhere. All over the world.
So yeah, I don't. I think this is it. I know that he probably wants to leave on a win, but I don't know. I mean, the game has evolved to such where I don't think it's plausible. I don't think it's palatable to do at this point.
Yeah. Hey, man. Some people get to a point in life where you know they've accomplished everything, and I mean Anderson. He said himself, "All I know is fighting. All I know fighting. This is all I know. I can. I mean, when a man makes a comment like that, and we want to take fighting away from him, not that not that we are trying to take fight. We're insinuating that he quit, which means we're trying to take fighting away from him. This is all he knows. He's gonna become. What's he gonna become after this? He has no plan B. I mean, it's not that he needs money. It's not about money. This isn't about money. This is about finding that next hobby that will occupy that void in him. You know what I mean? For me, my kids occupied my void. Their future occupied my void. You know what I mean? My kids are young. Anderson, he's got old kids. You know what I mean? His kids, I believe, are trying to fight. So
Yeah, Gabriel,
perhaps,
the
yeah,
son
yeah, perhaps,
Gabriel.
yeah. Perhaps if he focuses on Gabriel, he can rejuvenate himself and carry on. Where he, and fill that gap, that void. He can plug that gap, plug that void, and carry on. But Anderson's gonna have to do a lot of thinking, man. And I really hope he makes the right decision for himself and his family, because it hurts to see him get hurt. It hurts me to see him get hurt, and I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, man, it's a rough one. But that is when the UFC Fight Night post fight review But I definitely want to touch on something that happened actually Friday night.
Yeah.
LFA 94, right? We already mentioned about Chase Gibson's Darce choke and changing his name from El Guerrero to Chase and Cooper Gibson, which I thought was, I cried. I absolutely cried when I heard that. And Chase dispatching of his opponent with the Darce choke, so that was a bittersweet, feel good, moment of the summer or the fall or whatever quarantine season that you particularly subscribe to. All right, but the main event, a strawweight title fight, right? We had Lupe Gudinez against the reigning and defending LFA strawweight champion, Little Monster Vanessa Demopoulos. And my goodness, to quote Jim Ross, this shit was a barn burner. This is as good of a not just a woman's fight. These were two athletes, two warriors that just happened to be female, right?
Hmm.
Oh my god, like that right there, that fight alone was probably worth the $10
Hmm.
that I spent on UFC Fight Pass.
Hmm.
It was phenomenal.
Um, your homie Thermopolis speaks of her Spartan blood all the time, and I always wonder, she riding a Spartan coattail. I always wondered if that was the case, but this was it Friday? This past Friday, she proved she proved that she is worthy of that title. She's proved that she's worthy to be considered a Spartan warrior. She proved that. She proved that. She took an incredible beating, but she stayed there in the game. She stayed there in the game. And what happened was she ran out of time. She was actually after being mashed up and mangled. She was actually gaining more steam after being so badly damaged. She was gaining more steam. As the fight got worse, she got better. It was very strange to witness. As the fight got worse, Thermopolis, she got better, and managed to smash her opponent and inflict a serious damage upon her opponent as well. You can bet your $5 that there's gonna be a rematch of these two because that's the best female fight in LFA history that I've seen. I've seen that was the best performance in LFA, female wise, that I've seen. Congratulations, Thermopolis. Even though you lost the battle, you won the war because you earned my respect.
Yeah, I mean, I think the world of both ladies. And again, when you talk about championship fights, you kind of have to raise your stock. You have to raise your echelon just a little bit because you are fighting for the richest prize in that particular promotion's history, right? And in 94 incarnations of LFA, right, after its RFA kind of moniker beforehand, you'd be hard pressed to find a better fight than this one here. Which again, this is one of the reasons. This fight is one of the reasons why I love all of MMA, but specifically women's MMA because again, they find themselves in the spot that us males in the UFC and um, other places were in the Vale Tudo the NHB hard kind of time period of MMA history, right? They feel like they've got something to prove, right? And so the finishing rates and the incredible fights, those get littered a hell of a lot more, especially nowadays, than even some of the men. So this was an incredible fight, and little spoiler alert: you might want to check in to the According to Woods YouTube page because at 2 p.m. tomorrow, I will have reigning and defending LFA strawweight champion, Lupita Lupi Godinez, on the According to Woods podcast. And you can join us live by subscribing to that. But
Oh,
Voodoo,
by the way, before we wrap it up, Lupita Godinez. I remember her name due to her performance. Dynamic striker, by the way, for the record.
100%, 100%, and the crazy thing about her is, I mean, not only is she a dynamic striker, she is an impressive wrestler, right? But she plays second fiddle to her two younger sisters, whom she believes will be competing for Mexico in the Olympics in terms of wrestling.
There you go.
So, holy hell, this is crazy. Obviously, Godinez has relocated to Vancouver, Canada. So this one is going to be fun because I don't have to do any sort of kind of convergence in terms of time period because they are in the same time zone in Vancouver, Canada than we are down here on the West Coast. So you definitely want to check that out. But you also want to check out this Thursday another awesome episode of Voodoo in the Woods as we prepare for UFC Vegas. That's going to be Santos versus Glover Teixeira. Holy shit. That's a fucking pretty good card. And we are going to accurately, talk about that card on Thursday. So you definitely want to hit the like and subscribe button, both on the Facebook and the YouTube. And but Voodoo Maximus, any parting words for the party people?
Stay tuned, because Thursday we're gonna break down another fantastic card. Like, share, subscribe. Let all your homies know.
All of them.
If you're into MMA and you're really down with the MMA, get down with Voodoo in the Woods. We'll see you soon.
Hell, even if you like, I don't know, long-winded rants by
WWE.
Yeah, that'll happen too. I can almost guarantee you one rant per episode.
That's right.
So there you go.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Thank you guys.